All right, all right. Welcome back to the Military Retirement Podcast. This is Victor and John coming at you live Sunday morning. Oh man, I woke up in good spirits today, man. I woke up in good spirits. I got my sleep in. My shoulder still sucks, but the Medcline pillow's working. All right, things are okay. Things are okay right now. So, love the fact that I woke up this morning. So that's cool. That's always a
Always a
win.
good thing. Yes, it's always a good
Oh
thing.
yeah. Yeah. Shout out to 66T Love. First comment of the day. Good morning, TGLB family. She must be, or he must be over from the Green Logbook side, but we're streaming all over the place here. Green Logbook, Military Retirement Podcast, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We're all over the place. I think those are the only ones right now, but yeah, left shoulder's killing me also, 66T Love says. So get that Medcline pillow. I'm telling you, we talked a little bit about it. It's the VA will provide that stuff for you. So get that stuff. Shout out Navy Cop MA1, always with us. Great to have you, buddy. Hey,
if you want to be as cool as Navy Cop, you can actually stream on both. Stream on the Green Logbook and Military Retirement Podcast, one in each hand.
Dude, he's got a whole command center. It's like I feel like I'm on duty again. He's got the COC. And that photo, I got to pull it up again. He's got like 6 screens or something. It's crazy, man. But shout out to Navy Cop, man. Awesome having you. And hey, I gave you some moderator permissions, man. So if we get some crazies in the chat, you know what to do, man. Do your Navy Cop thing and regulate.
In the bin.
As Warren G once said, regulators, mount up. All 4 monitors are on tap. All right. Right on. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in the world recently. I tried to stay away from news, and I haven't had it on too much. And then I happened to turn it on based on a text that I got, and I'm like, huh? And I clicked on it, and then sure enough, I'm seeing bombings and all this stuff, and I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Yeah. So I guess the U.S. is at war with Iran now.
I mean, I think the last thing that I saw, my wife showed me, was something about the base here next to where I'm at being on high alert for whatever is going down. So basically, anybody in the European theater, Germany, Spain, especially the Navy folks, because it seems like there's a lot of naval stuff heading that direction towards the Middle East. I think they're ramping up again. Towards the numbers that they were for, say, a Desert Storm or a Desert Shield or something like that, right? I don't think there's going to be ground effects as of yet, but it looks like a lot of missiles firing and a lot of anti-missile stuff going on, and a lot of naval efforts and air efforts heading that direction. And I feel like there's going to be some tensions pretty high for quite a while. I wonder what Monday morning is going to look like going through the gate. If they're going to do like full on duties or what.
I'm telling you, man. So I saw the videos on it. Now I tell you, I try to stay off the news because that you need like a breather. You need like to take leave or whatever when you watch too much news crap. I try to stay off there for quite some time. I clicked on that link. And then I saw it was some view from an apartment complex, and then like off in the distance, there's like a bomb coming through, like a missile hitting somewhere. I don't know exactly what it was, and then I saw one. It was in Qatar, which it's crazy because I was in Doha, and it was like an R&R place, right? When I had deployed, you go over there for R&R, and to some Air Force base. And I saw a piece of a missile or a bomb or something fall in the distance and just explode, and people running. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Like things are going, things are happening. And I read up on it. It's called Operation Epic Fury. And, it's all you got to do is type that in and everything comes up, Operation Epic Fury. And this one news outlet kind of explains it. And then I jumped on New York Times, have been reading New York Times for quite some time myself. And Iran retaliates against Israel and U.S. allies. 3 American service members were killed in action. This is updated 25 minutes ago. killed in action, the Pentagon said. At least 9 people were killed in a small Israeli city near Jerusalem, and the United States and Israel renewed attacks on Iran. So I'm still kind of in the process of reading all that stuff. John, do you know how this all started?
Well, if you go back to the 1970s, right around
Okay, right.
1979, I think maybe it was maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. They had a guy in power, and he was really ruthless, and so we took him out of power between us and Great Britain. We put a guy named the Shah. I don't remember his name, but he was the Shah of Iran for quite a while, up until 79, and then they overthrew him. So basically, from that point where we threw out the old leader up till the point where the Shah got thrown out, they were reforming Iran. They were bringing in Western culture. They were getting a little bit more lax on the kind of idealistic religious kind of stuff that they do. And then at some point, the Shah got thrown out of power in like 1979. And then from there, the Ayatollah Khomeini, took over, and he's been in power since then. And he came back and started to reform the culture there, the religion there, got really, really strict. Everybody had to wear the hijab and all this stuff with women's rights and everything else going on there. So it's been that way for quite a while. And in the background, I mean, it's not just today, it's been decades, right? They've been talking about disarming Iran or limiting nuclear, power to certain countries. Iran happens to be one of those countries where they were trying for the longest time to limit their ability to create nuclear weapons. And now here we are in the middle of it. I think maybe we sent some airstrikes that way to take out some military targets in and around Iran and the bordering countries. Right. Not to mention the fact that Iran is, or at least the Irani regime, has been funding Hamas and all kinds of other bad actors in the world over the years. So it's been a culmination of things leading up to this point. And now it's basically Trump saying, look, we told you, we tried to do it diplomatically. You didn't want to do it. And now we're going to unleash the epic fury, as they so call it.
Operation Epic Fury. Yeah. And a lot of comments in the chat here. And yes, somebody, Jason Miyamoto mentioned, yeah, they just said 3 service members killed. That's right. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's, it happened. I just read it myself. Pentagon announced the first 3 American deaths in the war with Iran. So this is like, they're calling it a war. It's an all-out war now, right? Didn't think that we would see that for quite some time after everything that was said, but I guess that's what it is now. So 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action and 5 have been seriously wounded. Pentagon said it in announcing the first American troops to die in President Trump's war with Iran. And this is coming straight from the NewYorkTimes.com. United States Central Command did not say where the troops were killed. 2 military officials said that an army base housing American troops in Kuwait was one of the many American bases in the region that had been hit in retaliatory Iranian attacks or strikes. Wow. Okay. Kuwait. All right. So this all kind of hits a little close to home if you had deployed, because most deployments, when you go out to the Middle East, to Iraq, right? Anybody who is deployed to Iraq, you usually have to go to Kuwait City, and then kind of either bus or fly into your next base from there. So, and then Doha, which many of us have gone to take some R&R in. And Doha is a crazy, like futuristic looking city from what I remember.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that oil money, right? But it's crazy, like built up. There's always construction going, and they're in the mix with this too. So we'll see where it goes. I'm curious. Another reason why it kind of hits close to home is my own brother, who is a Navy chief, had orders to Bahrain. For some reason, they had canceled those orders. and then all this is happening. So I text them, and shit happens for a reason. Good thing you're not out there, dude.
Yeah, they've actually been targeting, I guess, or the Iranian military has been targeting a lot, if not all, of the Middle Eastern bases where U.S. military happens to reside or happens to be stationed or located at, and that was kind of the goal of their bombing attacks, as far as I can understand. Doha being one of them as well, and even I spent a lot of time this morning reading the news, unfortunately, and I'm like you, I don't normally read the news. I kind of stay away from it unless something bubbles up to the top and it's really, really relevant and important. And this is kind of a big deal. And plus, being here on the naval base, I get to meet a lot of people who go back and forth between here in San Diego, here in Bahrain, like constantly. So we've had we've had people coming in and out of here at various times in big groups, and you can tell when something's getting ready to happen. You'll see a bunch of people at the necks, or a bunch of people walking around the base who look like tourists, usually with backpacks and flip-flops.
Backpacks and flip-flops, or go fasters, as they call them, or sneakers, right? The running shoes, the obligatory running shoes, the socks, and the backpacks. Yeah. So that's when you start ramping up all the training, when you start seeing all those folks, right? And I also live near military installations, so you can hear the jets flying overhead, like the training. You can hear all that stuff. So if you live near an installation, you probably are hearing a little bit more of that. The helicopters overhead, the jets. I don't even know what they're flying these days. I'm not an air wing guy, but they got the jets flying overhead. You can hear them. So you may hear a little bit more of that as we ramp up towards whatever this conflict is, Operation Epic Fury. So yeah, that's where that is. More to come on that. I mean, I got it open. They're updating it live, so we will see about it. It looks like they did take out that Khamenei. That is it, Ayatollah.
Yeah,
looks like they did take him out. So I feel like I just need to get more updates on what exactly is happening. Now that I've been trying to stay away from it for so long, but it's sucking me in, man. Like I'm like, I feel like I need to know more about this, and why we're going out there, and why we're retaliating, and all encompassing everything. Yeah, just a matter of just keep myself educated on it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we got some crazy comments there. Let's moderate those things.
Don't look.
No, I already looked, man. I already looked.
Yeah.
Fucking let me get this shit out of here.
Yeah, man. All so right. I've spent the last week or two really thinking about writing utensils, and I was looking for a pencil the other day and I couldn't find one, and then I did find one and it wasn't sharp, and then I didn't have a pencil sharpener, so I started sharpening it with my knife. Lo and behold, I was like, you know what, maybe it's time to just spend $1 or $2 and just go buy some pencils. So I was looking around for some mechanical pencils, ones that I could take with me and reuse, and they kind of come in handy. I like them because you can like erase stuff and you can correct stuff, and like if you don't want something there, you can get rid of it. So I came across two really interesting pencils. One of them I'm still kind of on the fence about, but it looks super, super cool. And the other one's just a regular mechanical pencil. I got like this, it's called a Graph Gear 300 by Pentel. It's like this little plastic with metal on the front. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I got the same one, but I got the 500 and the 1000. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. They're drafting pencils, but great ones. Yeah.
Very cool pencil. Takes 0.5 millimeter lead. It came with some lead and an eraser. Really, really nice setup. And then I got these. 2 of these came in a pack, and they're called the Ticonderoga Sense-Matics. So basically, they're built just like a regular number 2 pencil. They look exactly like a number 2 pencil from Ticonderoga, but they're actually a plastic shaft, plastic tip, and then it's got like this eraser piece on the back that looks like a regular pencil, but it's actually a cheat code for holding your lead. And stick that up in front of the camera, maybe you can see it. Oop, there it goes. So that one. Is a Ticonderoga.
Let me ask you, what brought this stationary infatuation on so recently?
I've been
So
carrying
quickly.
around these index cards. I think we talked about it before, but not the regular small index cards, but the actual like the double size index cards, like this
Oh yeah,
size.
yeah. Is it the 4x6 or even
Something
larger?
like
It looks like.
larger than that, yeah. So what I do
Yeah,
is I fold them in half generally because they'll fit in my pocket then. And
yeah.
I'll try to use like all four sides, and then I'll also have space in the middle if I want to put like some sticky notes or whatever, a stack of sticky notes in there that I can put some notes on, write stuff down, and then take them out if I need to.
Yeah.
I've been using pens. I have tons of pens, gel pens. I think we talked about pens in December when we were talking about like the EDC everyday carry stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, pencils for me are really a nice way to get back to really the tactile feel of like paper and pencil versus the tactile feel of paper and pen. Like pen is good. And if I really, really wanted to go all in on a pen, I would probably go get like a Lamy or something like that. One of those
Yep.
pens with the fancy tips on them and the ink cartridge and all that stuff that you have to fill up. You probably have a dozen of them sitting over there.
I got a few over here. Yeah, they're nice.
Fountain pens. So they're really nice. They're kind of expensive. They're really cool looking, nice conversation starters. But I feel like this, and I'm trying to get used to this pencil. I think it's because I carry it in my pocket as it messes it up. But this one it doesn't have any mechanical buttons or switches on it. Like usually you have to click the top to get the lead to come out. This one is actually, it has a mechanism in the front of it that actually when you push it down on the paper, it ejects the lead as you're writing. So it'll, because you constantly, like when you write, you don't keep the pencil on the paper the whole time. You actually pull it up off the paper and put it down. So when you do that action, that little mechanism will eject a little bit of lead and then allow you to continue to write with it. And then, like I said, it's got this really cool, like hidden spot in the back where you can put all your lead.
I like that.
But it looks like a regular pencil, and it's what I really, really like about it. It just looks like a normal everyday pencil. But I'm trying to get used to it.
There's a good one that you should check out, man. It's called, I forgot who makes it, but it's called the Kuru Toga. And what it is Kuru Toga. Yeah. So as you write, the lead, there's a mechanism inside that actually turns the lead. So your lead is always sharp as you're writing. Yeah. Kuru Toga. So
that's what this
I had that one a while back. Yeah. So I had that one a while back. What I usually take with me everywhere, like I said, I have my little wallet here that it's supposed to be like a field notes notebook, but I take this thing everywhere with me. So it's become my wallet and I carry this thing everywhere. It's a Skillcraft pilot pen. Oh, let me put it up here. It's a pilot pen. So it has different colors, right?
Okay.
And it has a pencil. So not only is it an excellent EDC pen, but also I always think about this. I don't know why, but it is also an excellent weapon of opportunity if you need it. So always
like the belt.
Always carry always carry a pen, always carry a belt or wear a belt. Excellent weapons of opportunity if you need them. That's just the freaking Marine Corps in me, I suppose.
Yeah, military. Yeah, definitely. Always looking.
I tell that to my friend, my civilian friends, like, what are you talking about, dude? Weapon opportunity. You just go out and hang out and enjoy your life. But what if you can't? What if you're caught up in a situation where you have to act quickly and you need something, a la MacGyver, right?
Yeah.
You need something. What can you do? You can use your shoelaces, you can use your belt, you got a pen on you. Some people carry pocket knives, some people actually carry full-on carry, right? Depending on the state that you're in. So in that case, you're covered. But where I'm at, it's not an open carry type of place, right? So it's like, what are you going to do? So you have to learn a little, you have to know how to manage things. And if I'm hanging around, I'll put it this way. When I was at Walmart at one point, and when I was in North Carolina, and there was a storm outside, Walmart had a blackout, dude. Like the lights went completely dark all over the store. I was in the back by where was I? I was like by the tool section. So that is close to the garden center. The garden center has like an easy route to get out to the parking lot. However, it was like dusk, a little dark outside. The lights went out, and it wasn't out, it was out for maybe like 10 seconds until like the generators came on.
Mm.
Dude, but in those 10 seconds, I heard people running, dude, running towards the back of the store, like, because everything was off, right? I heard people running, dude. And I'm like, I was with my kid. I told my daughter, hey, just hang out here. We were by like all the freaking garden tools and shit like that, right? Like the tools and stuff, like not garden tools, wrenches and all that. I'm like, hey, just stand here. It's probably gonna go back on real quick. But you hear people like, oh, just you hear just scuffling towards the back
Yeah.
door. And that got me thinking. I was like, man, people can really do some damage. There's some really crappy people out there. I understand what these people are doing. They were leaving the store with shit in their hand, right?
Yeah.
But there's some really crappy people who could take advantage of folks. And if you don't know how to defend yourself or don't have a way to defend yourself, then there's an issue. There's an issue.
Yeah.
So I always carry a little something on me just in case. Not that I'm looking for anything, but you gotta defend yourself.
That's right. Yeah. Open carry was me in the States when I was in the States.
Yeah.
Can't really do that here, but
I think Brian Hahn mentioned that when in an emergency, everything is a weapon. Hell yeah, man.
yeah.
I just saw this video of this guy. It wasn't a guy, it was some lady, because I heard her scream. It could have been two people in the car, but it was like a dash cam. And it was a car on an off ramp that just kind of blocked the off ramp. And then two guys got out. And immediately I saw like whoever was driving the car in the dash cam, the dudes got out with something in their hand. And
Okay.
this car immediately punched it. And just like the dude went flying off the hood of the car. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you're caught up in that situation, I don't know if I would stop completely if I saw somebody coming at me with something in their hand, so you got to think, you got split seconds to think about that stuff. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying go out and start smashing into people. I'm just saying, use your best judgment in that situation.
Yeah. If somebody's on your car, smash the gas and go, or maybe even put it in reverse and smash the gas.
Yeah, man.
But,
or
leave yourself space. Yeah. Craziness.
Yeah. No, but good stuff on the pencil recommendation, dude. That's cool. I've not seen that Ticonderoga before, so I'll definitely check it out. I'm also a big fan of like, I got drawers full of pens and pencils, man. I'm a big fan of this stuff. I have a family member right now who's in Japan, in Tokyo, doing a work trip, and they're asking if I want anything. So I asked them for
everything,
a couple of, yeah, exactly. And I asked them for like the Uniball, the jet streams, like the 4-in-1 metal ones. There's one that's like very hard to get right now. She's looking for it right now. But there's a ton of stationery shops out there, of course, in Japan. This is where all they originate from, like the Pilot and the Uniball and all those.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, get me all these, get me all those. So we'll see what comes up with those. But yeah, Japan has all that stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I could go there. I think I would not leave. If I went to Japan, I would not leave.
So the thought came across our minds about that because we were looking at the cost of living out there, and it's a little bit lower than here depending on where you go. If you're like in kind of the outskirts, where there's more land, the people are moving out from these little towns to like bigger cities. I myself don't like living in a big city, so I thought, if we can get out there and just live in these homes out in like kind of the countryside, like when I was stationed in Iwakuni, Japan, at Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni, that's more of like a countryside setting. Yes, it's like a small town. You can take your bike and ride through, like as soon as you leave the back of the base, you're like riding your bike down a lotus farm, like a bunch of lotus fields. So it is a farm place, right? But as you get a little bit deeper in there, you notice these nicer homes around a bunch of land. And then I started doing some research on this, and I'm like, man, a lot of these homes are vacant. Like they're actually like pennies to the dollar if you wanted to move out there. And I thought, my wife's family is originally from Japan, apart from her mom's side of the family. Um, what if we make it out there? What if we just happen to get a place out there, just move? How cool would that be? Like an adventure, get away from all the craziness that's happening in the U.S. for a little bit. So, a lot of things crossing my mind that way, in that aspect.
Yeah, it's always it's lots of decisions. Even after you get out, even after you've been out for a little while, you still have a lot of decisions to make, a lot of important things to think about, things that maybe you did think about while you were getting out, and then after the fact, maybe you're rethinking those things or re-evaluating those decisions. I've been talking to a lot of people lately on the base and in chats online and all kinds of places, and it keeps popping up over and over and over. And the first question I ask anybody when they're getting out of military, whether they're retiring or not, is what's how many days are you till your ETS date, till you're done? And then if the answer is within a certain window, have you processed your BDD packet? Like, that's the first foremost thing. I think I've answered that question probably a dozen times in the last 2 weeks, of people just like, what do we do? And what's the next move? And I've got all these things planned. What do I actually, what order do I put them in? What sequence do I use? And that just keeps coming up over and over and over and over. And it's funny because I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So I just tend to bring it up. But when I do bring it up, people's eyes light up and they're like, what are you talking about? What is a BDD? What does that mean? And it's the same thing that I said whenever somebody told me about it. And I was like, well, it's
like, how much time do you have? Let's sit down.
It's literally the single most important decision you can make, except for potentially opting in or out of the SPB, and then knowing when the window is to opt out if you did opt in, like we discussed on the channel a few times. But the BDD, like taking care of your VA benefits, taking care of all that stuff, because that leads into all these other third and fourth order effects, right? The GI Bill, the VRNE program. If you get to 100% disability, all the stuff that it opens up, depending on what state you're in, for your children, for your wife, your husband, whoever in your family, it opens up all these other different opportunities and other things after the fact, after you get rated, right? And I know you'd recently did a video on VRNE stuff and was talking about it. And I just want to reiterate that one part. There was a short that you put out that said something like, don't use your Montgomery GI Bill, use your VRNE first. And even if you have used your Montgomery GI Bill, the retroactive induction that you can potentially take if you've been rated before you started using your Montgomery GI Bill. So I just kind of want to clarify if anybody had any questions about that. Like, if you've used your Montgomery GI Bill and you were rated with a VA rating prior to that, then you can most definitely request the retroactive induction and get that Montgomery GI Bill put back into your bank account, your Montgomery GI Bill bank account. And then also you had mentioned that you had like 1 month for each of your kids, which is also a really smart idea, potentially 1 month for your spouse too, if you're not dual military. That way you can move that stuff around after the fact. Because if you try to do it after you get out, they won't let you do it. Like, there's no two ways around it.
That's right. Yeah. So a lot of good feedback on that video and those shorts, right? And another thing that I came across that I didn't know about VRNE stuff was childcare. There is, under the M28C, under paragraph 3.03 and section K, it has a paragraph on there on childcare. And if you require childcare to be successful in VRNE, taking your school or taking whatever you're doing with VRNE, as long as you can justify it correctly, there's a potential for you to receive childcare expenses, or at least some of them covered. Now, when I found out about this, I did a deep dive into Reddit, and I saw like folks were saying, "Hey, look, they just gave me a one-time payment of $1,200. I mean, depending on where you live, that could be 2 months of childcare. That could be 1 month of childcare, depending on where you live, right? Um, but there is a potential for the VRNE program, as long as you request it, to cover some of your childcare expenses, which is pretty amazing for those who are maybe have young kids that require daycare or require after school care or something like that for you to go to school. Or yeah, it's a pretty good benefit, and it covers a whole lot. And I when I was making that live stream on it, the Civ Dib jumped on there, and he had mentioned that VRNE is a very slept on benefit, and I truly agree. It is very slept on. If I was just sitting down with a peer support specialist, I was walking out of the doc's office, and I met this one lady who happens to be working there, peer support specialist. We sat down for a little bit, and we got to talking about VRD. She's like, "Hey, look, I'm thinking about going back to get my social work thing." And I'm like, "Use your VRD. You're a veteran, etc." She's like, "Oh yeah, I heard about that." I'm like, "Yeah, do you know that they actually give you BAH as well, like monthly housing allowance?" She's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they just covered tuition." I'm like, "This is why." And I gave her my card. I was like, "Look at my videos, please, and just watch all the things, because there's so much that you rate and you don't know yet." But you raise your right hand, you freaking rate all this stuff, just as long as you know how to justify it, it can be all yours. They'll give you the MacBook. I think I shared a picture of it. My own counselor just asked me, "Hey, do you want a Windows or a MacBook?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm used to using Macs. Let me get a MacBook, And then I'm going through the actual VA office to go get like a stand-up desk, a new chair, a foot pad, like everything else I need, you know. So let's see if they'll cover like Meta Quest glasses or something like that. Let's see what else they can cover. Yeah. So I can be successful in school. But as long as you can justify it, like I was just watching a video of this lady who was going to film school, and she's requesting like a film camera, like an actual, like, these aren't cheap, right? Like you can get like a Sony, whatever it is, or you can get, one of the red cameras or the Canon C, whatever. I don't know what they're at now, like C100s or whatever. They're in the thousands, so several thousands. So
just for the camera body.
I mean, just for the camera body. On top of that, you need a computer to be able to do all this stuff editing. So they cover all this stuff as long as you can justify it.
No. I want to jump in the comments real quick. I love this comment from October 2025, that BDD workshops should be part of TAPS, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Yes. I mean, they mention it, right? But they don't have like a workshop for it. And I 100,000% agree with that. It's literally, like I said, it's one of the most important, if not the most important thing you need to do before you get out. Because a lot of the stuff that you need to do, you can actually take care of even after the fact, after you get your duty 214, after you leave service. There's a lot of stuff you can take care of, but the BDD is not one of them. The BDD has to be done prior to you getting out, and it has to be done within a very specific sliver of time in your time to ETF. And that's, yeah, it's so on that topic though, as far as TAP workshops and TAP stuff, I have a question for you, Vic. And I think we might have discussed this before, and now the questions come up again. And the question is, right now you're currently not working, you're actually getting ready to start school and do stuff, and I'm glad I'm getting through my school. I've got my graduation coming up for my associates in May, and then I think 9 more classes, and I have my bachelor's degree, and I have that graduation probably next spring, which is awesome. And that's all due to VRNE and talking to folks that we've been talking to and learning stuff. But as far as TAP goes, and I know we've talked about it back and forth, if the opportunity came up for you to become the TAP director for, say, the base there in San Diego, one of the bases in San Diego, and you knew that 97% of the job would be sitting down in an office every day for 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Would you, and let's just say the money is not important, so let's just let's factor the money out from the beginning. What would you do? Would you take that job? Would you not take that job? Would you think about it? Would it keep you up at night?
It wouldn't keep me up at night. I think I would take it. I have no issue sitting down in an office as long as I like the work, as long as I like the people. I'm fine with it. I can sit down and I mean, I'd probably be standing up in the office more so than sitting down, but I I have a lot that I would do with that program. I have a lot of ideas that I would implement, provided that they allow me to implement that stuff. If I'm the director of whatever, then I would be, and they give me like free reign. Hey, look, I think that this is available and this, then people should know about this. Then I would absolutely take it. If it's like, hey, you just got to hit these checks in the boxes and then that's it. I'm like, I'd think twice about it. You know, if they didn't want me to make any changes on it. However, there's a lot that could be implemented when it comes to TAP classes and with transition
TRS.
readiness TRS seminars. Yeah. Like I've mentioned this before, and many months ago, I've actually approached these TAP classes at several bases near me, and only to be met with a rejection because they're part of a contract or a subcontract, and they won't allow me to come in because I'm not part of that contract. So, I mean, short of getting a job with Caliber Systems or whoever does the contracts at these different places, I'm not able to get my foot in the door. But I would implement a few things, i.e., bring in retirees or veterans to share their life experiences on what they actually went through when going through the military to civilian transition. I think I need that genuine connection with people. I need to establish that genuine connection, and just instead of checks in the boxes, I need to give them real world content of what it's like, the ups and downs and all that. Like, hey, you're about to go on this journey that is not an easy one, trying to figure out who you are after several decades of service. Here's what other people have done, and here's their successes and their failures, and you can learn from that. Take out your little green logbooks and just get ready to copy, whatever. So, yeah, I would definitely take the job, to answer your question. Yes, provided that I'm able to make either additions to the curriculum or changes to it.
Yeah, and so I think that's probably one of the rubbing points is you probably can't. I mean, it's definitely directed at the DoD level and then pushed down to the services at their service level, and then pushed down to the TAP directors at the local level in each location where there's a base. That, and then as you mentioned, the contracted piece of it, which is a big piece of it, that handles a lot of that stuff. And then I guess the only other thing I would ask is if you don't have the personality to sit behind a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, regardless of if you like the job or not, but if your personality doesn't blend with that, like if you're the kind of person that needs to get out of the office to walk around to do things, and you can't necessarily do that if you're sitting at a desk 8 hours a day. Like I've done that before, and I know it's not my personality type. What would you think about that?
Yeah, you do have to have that personality to want to do that. I myself I don't like to sit in a desk all day, right? And even when I was doing federal work, I was walking around a lot of the time, just seeing how people were doing. It comes natural to me, as the chief warrant officer side of me comes out, and I'm walking around with my mug. Hey, how's the weekend? How's everything going? What exactly do you do here? Et cetera, when I first got into the job. And I like connecting with folks on that level. I like asking the questions and seeing how people are doing. So being in an office all day, it would bug me. So I'd have to get out a little bit. However, if I knew that there was a reason for me to be in that office and I'm making an impact on things, then I would gladly sit there and go through and read the references and make changes and all that. So no issues with that. I would love to have a position like that. There's open positions, I think, in Camp Pendleton for that. Not the director piece, but like somebody who gets up and talks about different pieces of the TAPS program, which is fine. I would rather kind of be in charge of it, but I mean, if that means that I get my foot in the door, then that's what it is. But it's not a bad gig, man. It really isn't. I wouldn't mind it. What about you? I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it constantly, thinking about it, because I know eventually it'll open up and it'll be there, and the potential will be to take it over. I just don't know if I can give up the freedom to walk around, do stuff, move around at my own pace, not be held to somebody else's scheduling and somebody else's meetings and all that stuff, because that's what comes along with it when you're, especially if you're the director of it. You're going to have to be in, at least 4 or 5 meetings a week for various things with the, let's say, the MWR director or the fleet and family director, whoever happens to be over the
or potentially the CEO, who is ultimately in charge of these programs on their base.
Exactly. And so that part of it, I don't think I would relish. I'm not the kind of person that can sit in the office like you. I need to move around, but I also need to move around like laterally, like not just inside of the office building, but I need to get outside. I need to move around. I need to connect with other people, potentially on the base to set things up. I feel like that's where the sweet spot is when you get to know, the janitors, and you get to know the people who are in charge of DPW or PW or however you call it, depending on your service, the public works folks, and get to know the people who do the shipping and receiving, and the people who run the mailroom, and like all those people, the people who run the thrift shop, like all those people I would like to be able to interact with on a regular basis, so I can have access to resources potentially in the future, or just build partnerships and relationships with those people, because that's what actually matters. Like that at the end of the day, that's where the rubber meets the road, right? For me anyway.
And you're saying that, and I did exactly that. And it's funny that you mentioned all these places like Public Works and the thrift shop, all these places, because when I was doing the federal work, like every so often, I mean, a lot of it, you get a lot of stuff coming your way. So every so often you got to take, like, you work for, I don't know, 30 minutes, you take 10 minutes off or whatever, and just kind of decompress a little bit. And I would walk outside. Like if I'm not talking to somebody in the office, I would walk outside and just walk over to Navy facilities. They were within walking distance, the facility section, to talk to these guys like, hey, what's going on? My name's Vic, whatever. And, you guys work on roofs? Because we got some problems there, man. Just want to see what you guys are about, because we did have a huge freaking hole in the roof when I walked at that job. And like, we need to get this fixed ASAP. I was like, it's been like this for years. Now you need to get fixed ASAP? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, then I'd skip over to the thrift shop. Hey, let's see what these people are doing in there, just, and Public Works and all these, just going around meeting folks, shaking hands and stuff like that. Establishing that network, right? We talk so much about the network thing. You gotta go out and actually see people. And they need to, I mean, you can do as much as you want online. And that's not going to be the same as actually look at somebody in the eye, or in this case, in the lens, right? And shaking and pressing the flesh, right? You got to press the flesh. You got to shake the hand and say, what's going on? How you doing? Here's what I do. Here's what you do. How can we help each other? That type of thing.
Yeah, lots to think about. Lots to think about.
Okay, anyway. So that's the way you would, now that I'm gathering now that that's the position that you may be in here soon.
I'm I'm definitely debating. It's definitely keeping me up at night. Let's just put it that way. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot, probably a few months ago, and now as well now. And it's tough, man, because I do a lot of hard work. I do a lot of work on my own, and I do have the freedom to move around to do what I need to do to get things done. I feel like being back under a close-knit hierarchy is going to put me back in a situation where I was in the military, where you gotta. I mean, I had the liberty to move around, being a warrant officer, of course, but you still got to go to meetings, and you still got to do all the administrative stuff and all that stuff that is not so fun. For me, meeting the people, talking to people, building relationships, that's the part that matters, and that's the part that's fun for me. And that's and of course you get to be face to face with like every service member coming through, so there's that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to think about. It is, but the thing is, John, you are a free man, and if you don't like the job, you can just skedaddle and do something else if you want. So you always have that option. Hey, it's not for me. Let me give it some time. Take on it. If it's getting to be too much or not what you thought it was, you can always resign from the position or look for something else. Real quick in the comments, gosh, where was I?
Tons of comments.
Yeah, Verg Brizzle, sup everyone? What's going on, Verg Brizzle? Let's see. Navy cop makes you wonder if you could work around the TAPS contractor groups by going through nonprofits to add value to the TAPS classes that would be voluntary for the members to attend. Yeah, that's right. I've been playing around with the whole nonprofit thing, and I'm glad you brought that up, Navy cop. It's a big lift with getting people on your board and getting grants. And I've been looking at all the grants. I live in California, so I've been looking at a lot of grants and stuff and applying for that. I know people who run nonprofits, so it's like that's their life, and I'm like, I got a lot going on right now. I got kids. I got, can I put all my focus into that one thing? So big thing I'm playing around with. October 2025 vets, do they have a warrant or officer association in the Marines? They do. It's called the Marine Corps Mustang Association, MCMA, the Mustang Association. So people who don't know, folks who go from enlisted to officer or even warrant officer are called Mustangs. I'm not sure why, but I suppose I am one. So the Marine Corps Mustang Association, MCMA. To answer your question, let me see here. Okay, a lot of Navy stuff. Let's see. Charlton Zimmerton, same in the Navy. Vic, jump ship. Yeah, jump ship, dude. If it don't work out for you. Oh, okay, gotcha. October 2025. That the association could be your way in to talk with folks. Yeah, it could be. I was pushed away. So when I went to ask one of my local bases about talking in front of the class, right? You have your little podium or whatever you like term, and you can talk to folks. And I literally just want to tell them, hey, look, not even to talk about military retirement podcast or the green logbook, just say, hey, I'm just this dude who did 20 years and a month in the Marine Corps. I retired. I went through all these like feelings and emotions and all the stuff that people go through, this whole wave of the whole transition from military to civilian. And it sucked. And I had my support system, which was my family, and I had to find my way. So I found my way through, talking about it, through the channel, through the podcast, through the family, the network that I built. And I just wanted to share that with a lot of folks in those rooms. But then the guy, the the coordinator for the TAPS program. He's like, hey, Vic, pump the brakes, man. We can't let you in here to talk to our people, man. It's kind of like they're our people, you can't talk to them. And I'm like, well, why not? And he said, well, I'll tell you what, we stopped letting speakers come in when we just recently had a Medal of Honor recipient come to talk in front of the class. And this was just like a few months ago. And I have an idea of who this guy is, but he's and the first thing out of his mouth was, hey, this TAPS class is bullshit. And that the first thing out of his mouth. And that's when they knew they did not want to bring any more speakers outside of their contracted whatever speakers in front of the class. And I'm like, I can assure you, sir, that is not going to be the first thing out of my mouth. It might be the last thing out of my mouth, but it's not going to be the first thing out of my mouth. No, it was not Gade. He is not a Medal of Honor recipient that I know of. No.
Yeah, never outshine the master.
Yeah, right. I didn't want to bring this up. It was interesting. As you know, I do some research on human behavior. I'm getting my master's degree in human behavior psychology, and I've been doing a lot of reading on this stuff. And this thing right here is Brown University. I think they're out of Boston, right? Brown University. So it says Brown University was awarded $20 million to lead Artificial Intelligence Research Institute aimed at mental health support. So what they're looking at is making AI therapy. Essentially, imagine you're talking to ChatGPT about your feelings, and they're not ChatGPT right now. When you tell it about your feelings or whatever, it just agrees with you, right? For the most part. It's like, oh yeah, whatever you ask it, it's not going to tell you anything negative. It's not going to, it'll provide you support by being your yes person, your yes man. So these folks are going to be looking at making this a full-on therapy thing. The Carney Institute for Brain Science on Wednesday. This was posted. This was from 2025, but I just came across it because I was looking at AI therapy. The new AI Research Institute on Interaction for AI Assistance Initiatives aims to help develop AI support for mental health and behavioral health. Will support new AI Research Institute on Interaction for AI Assistance called ARIA, based at Brown to study human artificial intelligence, interactions, and mental health. The initiative. The reason we're focusing on mental health now is because we think it represents a lot of really big, really hard problems that current AI can't handle, et cetera, et cetera. You all can read about this. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I might be nerding out on this stuff a little bit, but I have to believe that this may be like the wave of the future. Maybe if this thing happens and it actually works out well, we may be seeing more of this stuff. Because right now it's very human based. You sit down with a therapist, you tell the therapist your problems, they analyze it, they give you exercises. Sometimes there's EMRD. Sometimes there's meditations that happen, etc. This would take all the guesswork out of it and potentially give you exactly what you need. But I mean, it has quite a ways to go. Because right now, if you plug in your problems into Gemini or ChatGPT, it's just going to agree with you. So yes, October 2025 at your emotional support computer. Yes, make sure you get the little thing that you put around your computer that says emotional support computer, just like they do on the dog.
And you can take
that's a service dog, right? Yeah, exactly. Take it to the grocery. Oh man, yeah. So this is something that is kind of right up my alley, and I was reading a little bit about it. I got a few windows open on it, so I was just curious about how it's going to work out. They also have a few seminars. These professors talk about. It's like a jam session for psychologists, and they talk about different things, different behaviors, and then they go at UCLA, and I'd have to drive up to UCLA, but they do it like every other week or something, and it's all these different professors and scientists and psychologists who get together and they talk about stuff. So I would like to present something on or the topic of veterans, but I just need to know exactly what regarding veterans, military to civilian transition, and getting into, getting integrated into civilian life. A lot of folks that I talk to, they kind of close themselves off a little bit from society. I feel like I do the same thing. I very much do the same thing. I don't really like to talk to a lot of people. I have a very, very small group of trusted friends that I talk to. But outside of that, I have 400 Facebook friends, if that matters. But if I saw them on the street, I wouldn't know who they are for the most part. Isn't that crazy how that works?
It is. It's strange. It's my what's it called? I call it ambivert, which is a cross between an introvert and an extrovert. An ambivert is where you meet in the middle. I can function really well in crowds. I can function around people really well, but I have a certain capacity in my emotional battery that gets to a certain point, and at that point, I have to step away from everything, shut myself off, and re-energize myself for probably the same amount of time that I'd spent depleting that energy interacting with people in public or in social settings or whatever. So yeah, it's a real thing. At least for me, it's a real thing. I feel like it's something that I've listened to my body and my brain and kind of understood. And even my wife knows the same thing at some point. If we're at a dinner or something, she'll stop me and she'll be like, "Hey, if you need to go like on the balcony, go for a walk, go outside. Like you're getting to that point where where you need to step away for a minute. Just go. I got this. Don't worry about it." So
yeah. It sounds like, have you heard of Otrovert? This is something I recently came across.
I have not.
Otrovert.
Otrovert.
Yeah, so I have it right here. Are you an Otrovert? What belonging means and what it doesn't. A new trio of beings. So it says an Otrovert embodies the personality trait of otherness, remaining an internal outsider amidst humanity's shift from solitude to social connection through language. Most Otroverts don't have a psychiatric diagnosis or neurodevelopmental difference or condition that would otherwise explain why they move through life feeling incapable of fitting in. They are rarely shy or introverted. They are not socially maladjusted or even socially anxious. Their experience comes from a different way of relating. While most people forge a sense of self in their relation to others, they identify first and foremost as a husband or a mother or a teacher or a leader. These patients experience life outside of the communal hive, or a veteran. I would put put that in perspective.
In a lot of cases.
So an Otrovert, yeah, I recently came across that again in doing my whatever research and reading things on human behavior stuff. So I know you mentioned ambivert. I wanted to put another one in your wheelhouse there, and Otrovert.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't even know if ambivert is actually a word or something that's actually used, but it's just something that I came up with. It could be, but there's a lot of different nuances to that, right? It's like trying to say, on who's autistic and who's not autistic. I believe everybody is, but they're on a scale of autism, right? They're either really, 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 really low, or they're in the middle, or they're really, really high. I feel like every single human on Earth has the propensity to lean towards some sort of autism. It could be very, very, very minimal and unnoticeable. And then other cases, you can see it in things like OCD behavior and ADHD and things like that. So I do have a thing I want to throw up real quick, just for you, for the audience, for everybody. If you're getting to those points, which you will get to those points if you're going through a transition from military to civilian life, or any transition. If you're changing jobs, if you're going through a divorce, going through having a new child, any of those situations, you're gonna run across things. And since we're talking about AI and being able to try to alleviate some of those stressors in life, is a thing I ran
Mhm.
across. It's kind of cool.
Protocol cards.
Protocol cards. So if you're feeling a certain kind of way, this is not a one size fits all cornucopia. It's not a panacea of things, but um, it can give you prompts or little cues or little things that you can do, depending on where you're falling in this spectrum of 5 different things. Emergency would be really acute stress. Focus, if you're trying to get more focused on something or be a little bit more focused in your day-to-day life. Recovery
Mhm.
after stress. Sleep time, a lot of people have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, also induced by potentially sleep apnea and things like that. But just getting to sleep, there's things that you could do to try to mitigate that time between when you lay down and when you actually fall asleep, and then potentially improve your sleep over time. And then feeling, the last card is feel, and how to actually process emotions like caring, or if somebody really pats you on the back and says, hey, you did a really good job. Like a lot of people, like myself, I have a hard time um, dealing with that in a normal human way, I guess, where I don't know how to
Yeah.
accept praise
Mm.
as much as some other people do. So you can just literally just click on one of these cards, and then it'll come up with some little prompts, some things: breath of fire, APE check-in, amplify joy, alertness tapping, all kinds of interesting things you can do. And these literally take a few minutes, 2 to 10 minutes, depending on what it is. But just little prompts that you can look to tap on it and kind of get some insight if you're in a weird space emotionally, whether good or bad. You can tap into these and get some interesting prompts and some interesting little practices that you can try to incorporate to steer yourself down that path.
This is pretty interesting. And protocol cards. Let me write that down.
Yeah. I can throw the link up there in the chat as well. I found this on where did I find it at? Recommendo.
Mhm.
Recommendo. It's a newsletter that I read on a normal basis. It's pretty good.
I wanted to,
And every once in a while,
wanted to bring up something that Charlton Zimmerman mentioned on here. I've been to the VA. I've been to a VA head shrink. First thing the dude asked, "Have you thought about robbing a bank?" BS. Yeah. So I'll tell you, some of these VA folks are pretty wild. Um, I'm currently seeing a guy, and I had mentioned to him, he's like, "Hey, do you have like friendships and stuff like that?" And I told him, "Yeah, not really. I mean, I have a very tight group of friends, but I suppose I could use more. But I'm not really looking for friends, too much." He's like, "Where you?" And he tells me, "Well, if you are, you could always join a gang." And it was kind of I just gave him like I just looked at him like kind of turned my head a little bit like did I really just hear that? Um yeah, it was a little awkward, but I'm like I don't know what he meant by that. Like the friends thing is it because I'm like a Hispanic male or I don't know. I'm like I suppose I could, but I won't. Is my answer that I gave him.
no,
So,
you didn't lean in
uh,
and ask more questions. Like, what do you mean? What kind of gang are we talking about? Or is this Crips Bloods? What are we talking about here?
yeah, no, I didn't lean into it. I was not that I was offended or anything. It was kind of like an awkward thing, and
No.
we just stared at each other for a second, and he's like, "Well," and he just went to the next question. Um, and I guess I can come off as a little bit like without emotion in my face, kind of a stoic type of look.
Yeah.
So we just kind of blankly stared at each other, and I'm looking at him for him to explain himself, and nothing. So I just moved on from there. Um, I did want to bring this up. This is a good article that I was reading on. Let me see if I got the right one here. This is fun. This is good stuff here. UCLA Magazine, right? The Science of Connection. The Science of Connection. And there's one on here, a piece on here that says the number one antidote to loneliness is friendship, not marriage, not religion, not clubs, but friendship. Says
Not gangs.
whoever this person is, principal investigator at UCLA Social Minds Lab. Friendships are the silver bullet, not the silver bullet we're thinking about when you fall out of a hike or a hump, right? Friendships are the silver bullet. They are key to boosting innovation, decreasing healthcare costs, protecting democracy, and improving community resilience in the face of disasters. That's powerful, I think. When you think about it, what is if you're stuck at home and you're not leaving your four walls? Why is that? Is it because you don't want to go outside? Is it because you have nobody to hang out with, nothing to do? So that's a very powerful thing. Friendships. I think a lot of as men get older, they need those type of things. They need those friendships. Even women, right? Like my wife has her friends. They come by the house sometimes. They go out to concerts. They go out, or not concerts. They go out to the theater. They go out to eat. Whatever. I have a very select few amount of people, like I mentioned, that I go see, that I connect with, and I don't go out as often as she does. Probably maybe once a month, if that. But that's all I really need, to kind of feel like that connection. But if I did, I thought back after I read this, I'm like, if I didn't have that, I'd feel like lost almost, right? So I think as we get older, we need those connections, like those friendships. Like it doesn't have to be a tight friendship, like go out and get into like a freaking bowling league or something like that and make friends that way. But it was a powerful article, and I'm doing more research on this. I'm not like clinical research or anything, but I'm just reading about it a little bit more to see about friendships and like veterans and how a lot of them are closed off, me included in some aspects. So interesting stuff. Today's loneliness epidemic renders the quest vital. A robust body of research has established the benefits of friendship to health, happiness, well-being, economic mobility, and civic engagement, with loneliness shown to negatively impact everything from immune health to work life. Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't have a ton of people I hang out with, and I really don't have anybody I just go hang out with on a regular basis. I hang out with my wife, man. She's really that kind of a person. Like she's I can hang out with her. We can play video games. We can cook together. We can do stuff in the garden. We can go take a walk. We can sit and talk for a few hours. Like we really, that's why she got picked. That's why we're married. Because she's just good like that. But yeah, friends that I hang out with on a regular basis. It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine because you do find that friendship within your wife, right? Some folks, I have friends who don't do that. They do completely separate things.
Yeah.
And they like raise their kids together, and then they have their group of friends, they have their group of friends, they never combine. Right. It just so happens that my wife's friends have husbands who are pretty cool. So like, not that they're my best friends, but I'm like, hey, what's going on? So and so, good to see you. How's everything?
Yeah.
It's just easy to talk to, and I think that's because her friend is easy to talk to as well. So it kind of flows that way. Real quick, going to the comments here. Uh, excuse me, 660 Love. I've also seen a psych docs. I have a problem with the VA not being consistent. They have too many interns. Hard to get comfortable with the doc is different. Yeah. Um, you can bring that up. Bring that up to your primary doctor and see if you can gain some consistency there. I have not seen that yet, but what I have noticed is when I go into like the therapist office, it does seem very sterile in the VA. Whereas like when I went out to go to see a therapist outside of the VA, it was, nice, comfortable office, couch. The lady had a fireplace, like it was a fake fireplace in the office, obviously, but it was looked nice.
Yeah.
This one seems a little sterile, so doesn't give you the desire to want to open up a little bit. Let me see. It is because individuals are okay, but for the most part, people suck. Yes, people do suck sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Well, not everybody was raised with the mentality of service to others, and like we have in the military for the most part. Also, the VA hires them. They are inexperienced young punks. That's my opinion. Hey! I'm looking to get hired by the VA. I might be one of those inexperienced young punks.
Young punk.
Yeah, we got Charlton Zimmerman waving his fist at me. Punks. Who's in charge here? Navy cop. I have 0 local connections these days. I have made attempts, but I don't get the same effort in return, or any effort in my case. So yeah, it's tough, man. Hey, you got a community here, dude. I'll put it like that. So and we may not be local, but you're always welcome here.
Yeah, I mean, I get to hang out with you every single week, at least once a week. So, and in between, we get to chat in text messages and random things sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe cop. That's one reason why I have added gaming groups to the listings on the site. Roll to Heal, Dice of Duty, etc. Work on the idea of connecting through person gaming. Yes, that's cool. That's that sounds great. I tried. You know what I tried? It was is it Dungeons and Dragons? I tried that a while back. I had a good friend of mine, a fellow chief warrant officer, who was very much into that. We went to a course in Virginia. We had a bunch of people around this table, and I'd never played before, so I had a little character. His name was Bud the Wiser, and he Bud the Wiser, and I tell you what, man, it didn't stick, man. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into Dungeons and Dragons. I tried. It's not me. Maybe I'm not a big gamer. I like Call of Duty. I like Battlefield, on the Xbox, and that's about it. Not a big gamer myself.
No.
But yeah, but I would never forget Bud the Wiser. That is my man.
You like cars though, right?
Depends. What are we talking about?
You're a car nut. Yeah, I mean,
I do like
when
cars.
I first met you, you had a what was it a Cutlass?
Pontiac Le Mans 73 Pontiac.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was
and that thing started giving me some transmission issues, and I'm like, you know what? And it was just kind of sitting there. I had to cut it loose, and I let it go to another Marine.
Yeah.
But now I'm playing with the idea. I've always liked Toyota Supras, and I'm playing with the idea of picking one up. Have not really delved into this or whatever, but it may have come across my Google Chrome or Safari every so often to see pricing around the area.
Yeah.
So Toyota Supra.
I mean, there's got to be some good old right-hand drive JDM nuggets floating around there somewhere on one of those bases. So
yeah. So a friend of mine, he lived across the street from me when I was living at base housing years ago, and he would bring. He had a CRX, Honda CRX. It was a
Mhm.
right-hand drive, and he had an Acura. I guess R, Type R,
Integra.
a J spec Type R, right? And that was it was amazing. It was like you can hear this thing from it was not street legal, man. You can hear this thing like down the road.
Yeah.
Pretty nice, but yeah, it doesn't have to be right-hand drive for me. I just big fan of the Toyota Supras.
Now, I was gonna say if you're into gaming and you're into cars, I know one of the things that I do to kind of get a quick like reset, refresh, get my brain back in order, get out of a slump of tiredness or boredom is I throw on this game. It's called Rocket League. But so they have Rocket League on the PC, I think, and they have it on gaming consoles. It's basically like soccer with cars.
Okay.
So there's like this big soccer ball on the field, and you're in a car, and then you get to drive around and bump it around and try to put it in the goal, right? So on the phone, though, they have maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe I'm being a bad influence right now. But on the phone, they have a similar version of it called Rocket League Sideswipe. So it's basically a 2D two-player game. Well, it could be up to 5 players, 4 players.
Like Pong?
It's basically the same kind of thing, but they have a couple different variants of the game. But basically, you're in one car on one side of the screen, the other person is in the car on the other side of the screen, and the idea is to get the ball in the goal, right? With the car, driving with the car, and you've got like these little boosts, and you can fly through the air and do all kinds of acrobatics and weird stuff. It's a really interesting, cool game, and it's got some cool features in it for like customizing the car and putting different wheels on it and changing the color of the car and all that stuff. Just a really cool way to shut your brain off for a couple minutes, play a couple rounds, and then get back into whatever you want to do. I really enjoy it. Rocket League itself, the regular game on the console, is super hard. My son introduced me to it a few years ago, and it's a complicated game because you got so many controls to move around. You're in this 3D space trying to move around. But this 2D version of it for me is really a quick learning curve to get up to speed on it. And then once you are, you can play around with it. And if you know people and you're connected with them and you've got them in your friends list, then you can actually team up and have like gaming sessions with people.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I've not heard that one before. I will say that I've only been playing one game recently, so I don't have an Xbox. The Xbox is in my kids' room. Each one of them have an Xbox, which is it's weird to say, but I found somebody at a garage sale selling an Xbox for like $15, so I picked it up. It's like, I'm like, hey, you want it? It was an older Xbox, right? The other one has the newer one. But I don't have like a gaming setup here in my office, right? So I downloaded this one called Warships, and it's just like a bunch of like I don't know if it's warships exactly, but you're on like a cruiser or some kind of carrier, and you're shooting other carriers. This is like people who are live on the server, and you're just shooting them. You just like you can earn missiles and all that stuff and whatever, and intercepting and all that stuff. And the missiles coming your way, and like the other one, the torpedoes. So it's fun, and it has different scenarios. You can do different upgrades to your ship. So that part is fun. I like that type of gaming. What kind of gaming I didn't like was when I was at TBS, the basic school, and we did like sand table exercises, the war gaming. That can be frustrating sometimes. I don't miss that war gaming. So, though I understand why, because you have to be able to think outside the box and critically and all that. I understand why we did that, but it was very frustrating because it's you trying to brief your SMEAC, situation, mission, execution, action, or fuck SMEAC. It's escaping me anyway. So you're briefing your plan around your entire class, which is like I don't know, like my platoon was like I don't know how many people, but there had to be like 30 people around the table, huge sand table.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, Vic, you're up. I'm like, okay, well, here's my orientation situation, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, you're over here, forward observer. What do you do next? Okay, well, doing this, doing that, calling for fire here and there. So, and then they throw these scenarios at you, and you're like, shit, like, gotta think quick. What are you gonna do? Okay, what are you gonna do here? Send over the 9 line or whatever it is. Call for artillery here or whatever. So it is. It can be very frustrating. I did not like those games when I was there. I'll put it that way. It definitely was a little bit nerve-wracking, especially when you're trying to perform in front of everybody.
Yeah.
See, October 2025 that I kind of gave up on gameplay complexity after original Mortal Kombat. Too many buttons and combos. Yeah, that freaking Johnny Cage and Liu Kang, man. Yeah, I tell you.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat used to be my. I probably lost dozens of rolls of quarters playing that game like nightly.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And then it was always good when it was always fun when you're like versing Goro. And then what's the master's name? It was oh gosh, Beyond Goro. I forgot his name. It was like that little old guy. But Goro was a guy with like the 6 arms and all that.
Yep.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat was fun, man.
That was
a fun time.
Best. It was the best.
Shao Tsung. I can't remember his name. Street Fighter was a good one. I also like Double Dragon. Remember Double Dragon?
Yep.
Shang Tsung. There you go. Shang Tsung.
Hello, US Army.
Hey man, you're never late, buddy. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, man. We're just talking a whole lot about gaming now. We were talking about cars. We were talking about belonging and friendships and the science of connection and all these great things. And I think we started off with now the conflict, Operation Epic Fury, the conflict in Iran, which I don't know if I got to look that up. I don't know if it's an all-out like a war declaration, but there was a few terms of war thrown around there. So we'll see. War of Warcraft is my game. All right. Double Dragon got so many quarters. Yeah. So I'll tell you, this is not sponsored, but this is something I picked up. I picked up this little thing, and I take it with me on flights, and it looks like a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Oh man, this thing is amazing. Let me see if I can turn this thing on. And it has 1,000 games on it from like Nintendo, open source console, big old screen on here. I think I could play like Madden and Double Dragon and all these things, but this thing goes with me on every flight that I go on. It's freaking awesome. Look at it. It's loading all the freaking games right now.
Yeah, little game emulator.
Yep. So it's got like the PSP and Atari, all that good stuff, man. Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So pretty cool. It was like $100, something like that, and it came with this cool case and all this stuff. So if you like gaming, that might be something that you get.
I don't need that in my backpack. I would never do anything else.
I had it with me at work before, and I was like, I had downtime, and I was just playing like Super Mario. It was pretty sick. Good little time waster there. If you just want to do something other than be at work.
Yeah.
So good piece of gear. So that doesn't go with me too many places, but when I am out and about traveling or something like that, it is a good time waster. I did want to give a quick shout out to, I don't know if these guys are watching here, but for the longest time, like I drink coffee probably every day, right? And I'm trying to kind of limit it. I'm down to like 2 cups now. Back when I was in uniform, it was a little bit more than that. But I linked up with this. It's called Veteran Brew Coffee Company. They're out of Texas. They send me over their Sovereign blend, right? Whole bean coffee. So I have a drip coffee maker. I just don't have a one of those bean, whatever it is, the grinders.
Okay.
I got to pick one of those up. So I have yet to try this, but looking forward to it. It says brewed for the bold, crafted for the sovereign. And yeah, Veteran Brew Coffee Company. Just want to give them a quick shout out. Again, a veteran owned business, which is what I wanted to connect with. I drink enough coffee, so I'm like, I'd like to link up with a veteran coffee company that wasn't like these huge guys. Somewhere maybe that's local somewhere, part of the community. These guys just happen to be in Texas. They're not here in California, but that's fine. And I love the name, Veteran Brew Coffee Company, straight and to the point. So they sent me this nice little package in a box. Shout out to Veteran Brew Coffee Company. If you're in Texas, check them out. Shit, if you're not in Texas, check them out.
Check them out next time I go.
Yeah. Veteran Brew Coffee Company. Let me see. October 2025. Yeah, that thing is cool. Yes, sir, it is. I think you're talking about the little emulator thing. Yeah, very cool. Like the size of a Game Boy. It's awesome. Let me see here. What do we got here? World of Warcraft. I don't know World of Warcraft. There's a gaming center. It's near my place, and I walked in there because it looked like a hobby shop, right? Like they have a bunch of like RC planes and all that stuff. And I walked in the back and I had like these 2 people that are like, "Hey, I'll trade you a gremlin for." I'm like, "What the fuck? What are they talking about?" They're talking about like exchanging or buying each other's gremlin. Wizard. I don't know what the hell there was a conversation going on in the back, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. These people must be playing some kind of Dungeons and Dragons thing." They have these huge tables in the back with like, whatever it is, whatever they play. I was just there for like the model airplanes or the RC airplanes. I saw it from the window. I'm like, "Oh, let me go check it out." But it's like a whole thing, man, like huge tables in the back.
Yeah.
I just had to pop my head back there. There's another place out here that does like Pokemon too, or whatever it is they play.
Yeah, they have gaming nights here on the base actually once every month or 2, where they'll set up a bunch of tables and have everybody bring all their card games and all this stuff out and dice and everything.
Yeah.
And go crazy with it. It's a good social setting. It's just if it's your thing or not. Sometimes it's not your thing. Dungeons and Dragons takes a very specific kind of person.
Dude. So we were when I was in Hawaii, we were out with some friends, and we happened to be out, just walking towards Hawaii is very walkable, especially if you're in Waikiki. And we happened to be walking towards like the restaurant. We're just talking, and all of a sudden, the one of the guy's wives, she like runs off, and I'm like, "What the fuck? What was she doing?" Like she runs down like the street, and then she runs back and she's like, "Oh, I had to grab, I found chortle or some shit, like or not chortle, Squirtle or something." And I'm like, "What?" And she's doing her Pokemon thing. She's like, "I got Squirtle or something."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, what? I mean, we were having a conversation, as we're walking, she just runs off.
Yeah.
So it was kind of strange to me, but I'm like, to each their own. People like to play the Pokemon thing, but then everybody's running to like one little spot. I found Chode, or I don't know what the names of these freaking Pokemons, but they got these names. Sergeant Stacking, what's going on? What's going on? Still putting out those coins, huh? Yeah, those are pretty nice, man. Awesome. Play or games and painted miniatures. Okay. See, that's cool, man. I could do with like painting miniatures. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it back here. I got this box. I'm big into 3D printing.
Yeah.
And I just picked that one up and I ordered another one, a Bamboo Lab 3D printer. So maybe I'll print out miniatures. I don't know. What do you say? I don't think that
first word that came to mind. You know.
It really, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there is one. Maybe he's shaped like a tuna can. I don't know.
Yeah. Smells like a tuna can.
No. Too much. Too much. Too much. Damn. All right. Yes, I know about Battlefield. Yes, Battlefield is fun.
Great game.
Just the maps are huge, man. The maps are huge on Battlefield. And then when I went on, I still have the old Call of Duties. And when I went on to play like some of the first ones, they're so glitchy now because they've like these servers. I don't know if they're not keeping up with these servers. Fucking Pikachu. Oh damn.
Pikachu.
They got it. They're running with it. They're running with it now. Watch, I got the 3D printer now. Y'all be careful. I might print out a Pikachu now. Yeah, honestly, it was like the first thing that came to out of the mouth, and it was like, hey, probably bad choice of words there, but yeah, I was like Pikachu, I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, so I forgot what I was going with this, man. You guys throwing Pikachu out there. Squirtle versus Pikachu. Our division is such based on battlefields. Hell yeah, I love that. I love that. I don't know what I know what I'm going to be printing because I have so many new ideas of what I want to get into. I run a business on the side that I do a lot of wholesale selling, and a lot of it involves 3D printed items. And I've been running it for a few years. It does really well. It's called Undercover Clip. It's like a Marine Corps Navy uniform item. But I'm also going to be getting into other prints as well. I have a friend of mine who does 3D printing as well. He has a Porsche, an older Porsche, and there's a piece on the Porsche. I guess it has a windscreen in the back, and there's for the convertible ones, there's a piece that breaks. So he started 3D printing these things out of carbon fiber, so that they're not easily breakable. And this dude's like, yeah, he just ships them out like all day. He's still in the Marine Corps, you know. He just ships them out all day, and he's like, this thing brings in like 20 grand a year just shipping this little piece out that constantly breaks. And if you buy it straight from Porsche, it's going to cost you several hundreds. But he's like, he just sells it for like, I don't know, tens of dollars. I don't know how much he sells it for. But man, 3D printing is awesome. That is something I could talk about all day, 3D printing. Because I run a 3D printing farm. I have a few 3D printers in my garage. So that I do love.
I haven't got into it yet, but I'm sure if I do, it'll be a rabbit hole that I can't get out of quickly.
Oh, dude, it is so, you can make anything, man. Yeah, for a while there, I had a bunch of Fuji batteries that were like kind of all over the place, and I made a Fuji battery holder. And then I posted it online. People were like, hey, do you sell these? I'm like, I wasn't thinking about it, but they were for a specific Fuji battery. And I was a part of a Fuji network or whatever it is, not the Reddit, but some group on Facebook. And people were hitting me up like, hey, you know, I'll buy some off you. So that was pretty good. It was like $20, you know, so you can definitely make some money off that stuff.
Yeah.
But it is so fun to do this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you could, yeah, absolutely. You can make a fortune printing car parts. Yes, you can. Especially those little things that break. Yes.
Yeah.
Mo Perspective, welcome. Welcome.
What up?
Good to have you. What do you say? 3 print a Pikachu carrying a green logbook. I don't know. Mo Perspective t-shirts coming soon. Oh, thank you for that. Yes, I did. Kind of subdued, right? Just says the green logbook on here. I got a green one on there, a green one in the room, an entire green shirt with kind of like a darker green that says green logbook. I didn't want anything too flashy, just short and simple. I guess that's it. The green logbook. So I don't know. I just got a few just to have. I guess if people want some, I can put some up somewhere. I didn't think about maybe potentially selling this stuff. So, but if people are interested, why not support the channel? Let's see here. Print a 3D coffee cup. What is it? Print a 3D coffee cup with Vic and John's face on it. Could be something. It'd be freaky though. It'd be a little weird to drinking out of John's face. Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff. Things like camera holders. Like if you don't know, where to put your camera, I got mine right on top of my monitor here. So found this little piece of gear that holds it right on the monitor. So it's perfect after so many months of trying to figure out if I want it on the left or the right or behind the monitor or whatever, and how it like hits the wall. I think I finally found where I'm okay with it. So potentially could 3D print this thing later on. But a whole lot of stuff. There's a Gridfinity, this thing called Gridfinity, where you can actually print out grids and put them in your drawers, and it has like a little placement for everything. So I'll be doing some of that. I just got a whole like garage system for my garage, like one of those the Husky toolbox holders, that the big ones to put all the tools in. So I'm trying to fix my garage a little bit. So I'll be putting some Gridfinities within all those to make sure that everything is it has its proper place, because I hate when things are in its place or out of place. Dude, Sergeant Stacking, man, those resin 3D printers are awesome. I never messed around with one, but one of the dentists that I went to had one, and they would print out like no shit. They would print out like teeth. Like it's crazy. You can do a lot of stuff, but as long as you have some good air ventilation. So for me, I've not been printing, or I've not printed ABS. I have ABS, but it gives off some like toxic fumes. So I'm not going to be printing ABS. I use PLA, which is like made out of kind of like a corn material. When it prints off, it has like a sweet smell. But I keep them all in the garage anyway, so it kind of has some ventilation there. But yeah, 3D printing, you can do a whole lot of stuff with that. It's going to print off like the Iwo Jima flag, the obligatory thing that all Marines have, the Iwo Jima flag. I got, cameras and stuff like that, DJI cameras. You can print off like different holders and fixtures for all those things, little tripods, things like that. Yeah, so there's a whole lot. John, man, I recommend you get one, dude. It's so fun. You can make anything.
Yeah, I'm actually really heavily exploring, well, not exploring, but heavily diving into Legos. I've been accumulating Legos, like random boxes of Legos and sets and stuff like that as well. I think I've talked about Lego building before. It's kind of my meditation to keep me sane. So every once in a while I'll grab some Legos, but I've been heavily thinking they have a thing online with the Lego community where if you look at some of these sets that come out, at least maybe in the last 5 or 10 years, some of these sets are actually sets that are built by people in the community. They just kind of design them, and they have a 3D design program where you can go in and design stuff with Legos, and then you can actually order the parts if you want and build it in real life. So a lot of these people find something interesting, they'll build it, they'll post it up on this community, and if the build gets like up to 10,000 hearts or likes or whatever, then they'll actually put it into a pool of Lego sets that they'll then consider at Lego to potentially take and actually build and create and sell the set in, to the mass public. So I've been looking at that a lot, and just collecting as well, because I'm into Star Wars stuff, and they have a lot of Lego Star Wars stuff. And plus I get to sort out Legos and put them in their little bins and organize my stuff. If I get a 3D printer, I think it'll be game over for me. I don't think I'll leave the house anymore.
Yeah, it's I've had Legos before. Can't really get into them too much. I had bags of them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the 3D printing stuff, man. Like for a while back there when I was I had a bunch of 3D printers, and then this is during the time when we were going through COVID and everybody had to wear the masks, in the US. And I linked up with a few hospitals, and I created it was a mask holder that went behind your head, and alleviated the actual elastic going behind the ears, because it was cutting people's ears, right, from long exposure to the ear. So I created a bunch of mask holders, and probably like in the several thousands. I mean, there's such thin little things that you can just pop it in there and probably create like 100 at a time, right?
Yep.
And it didn't take long to print those at all. And then we actually started donating them to hospitals. One in New York, one in Louisiana, one in Florida, different hospitals. The ones in Hawaii too. We were living in Hawaii when we were doing that. And it was a way to show my kids how to use 3D printers and actually do all the slicing and all that stuff, and do some good for like communities, right? So we were just like sending these things out, donating a lot of them, like several thousand. So it was fun. Yeah. Like the news came out and did this whole story on it. I was like, look, it's all the kids, man. It was their idea. I'm just showing them how to do it. So it was pretty cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been big into hobby stuff as my whole life, really. I dove into what is it called? Those tabletop kind of machines that you can actually carve stuff out of different materials, whether it's like plastic or wood or whatever. So I got into Fusion 360, I think is what it's called.
Yep. Yep.
And it's a 3D design program or whatever. And you can use that to make stuff for the lathes, or for the hell is that table called? The table with the thing that bores out the wood or the metal or whatever it happens to be.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I forget, the name's escaping me right now, but you can use that Fusion 360 to design those things in 360, and then actually, you can test them for strength and like rigidity and all that stuff inside of the program.
Yeah.
CNC. There it is. Yeah. CNC machines. Yeah. So yeah, I was doing a lot of that because I was actually designing a laptop case for a classroom that we had when I was still on active duty. Trying to design a laptop case that would actually bolt onto the desk, and then we could actually close it up and lock it with the laptop and the dock inside of it, so that we could leave the classroom open so people could use it. So I spent a lot of time in there learning how to use 360 and how to do CNC stuff and machining and like all that stuff. Pretty fun. And then that directly translates over to 3D. We had there was a lab that I went to. It was basically a public lab where they had all kinds of different stuff going on inside of there, and you just paid like a monthly fee, and they give you a little key fob, and you could go in 24 hours a day whenever you want and just do stuff. Use the CNC machine, use the 3D printers. You could go grow mushroom furniture or whatever you wanted to do. Like, they had all kinds of cool stuff in there. But yeah, it's definitely I was one step away from jumping down the 3D printer rabbit hole. I will eventually. I think there's a ton of stuff I want to do with 3D printing, I just haven't pulled the trigger on it, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best one to start with without going too far off the deep end.
Yeah. Let me see here. Mo perspective. No, I did not patent it. I mean, there was a lot of people doing it anyway. It was just I found a file, I altered the file to make it my own, and then that was it. And Real Trump said, I guess it's just me, but I would have sent them over to veterans hospitals and veterans only until I fulfill all veterans. So what I did, I was still active duty when I did this. And what I did was I sent them over to naval hospitals and the Army hospitals and the clinics as well. So specifically, I was on Marine Corps Base Conneaut Bay, and I donated a bunch to them. I went over to the Schofield side, donated a bunch to them. What's the other one? Pearl Harbor side, I donated a bunch to them. Sent over some to not Iwakuni, Okinawa, Japan, to their clinics. So yeah, a lot of the actual active duty clinics got a bunch of them. So didn't really send them over to the VFWs or not the VFWs, the VA clinics. But a lot of the active duty clinics I did. So yes, got that stuff done. But yeah, it was a great way to show the kids how to do it, man. It really was. And the CNC stuff, man, that's very cool. Like with the Dremel tools and all that.
Yeah,
I like that. And you can make that a nice little business too. Like I know a lot of folks who do the plaques, like the going away plaques and all that stuff.
Yep.
They use a lot of those kind of routers and CNC machines. Very cool. Make a lot of good money with that.
Yeah, those things. And so like I think Navy Cop was saying, like it's a pretty steep learning curve to get into 360 design stuff and like digital design and then translating that over to CNC machines. But once you break out a couple molds and do a couple things and test a couple things, I saw a guy in there I met. It was like 2 a.m. I was in there working one night on the weekend, and it was like 2 a.m. I was tinkering around with some stuff and working on some stuff and putting pieces together. And this guy comes in, he puts his laptop down, he's got a couple of big slabs of something, some kind of material, and he breaks out his laptop and he's got all this code on the screen. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I sat down and I taught myself Python because I wanted to build this guitar and I wanted to cut it on a CNC machine, and I didn't have the patience to do it graphically. So I decided to figure out how to do it in code. So I taught myself Python, and then I wrote the Python code to be able to cut the CNC pieces out of the material. And I was like, wait, what? What are you even talking about? So we had a nice conversation, but yeah, he literally like coded out the entire CNC path for the cutter for 2 or 3 different pieces so that he could take these pieces and then laminate them together and build his own custom guitar with it.
Insane. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Insane stuff.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. There's so much you can do out there, man. I think that's a big reason why I love like the 3D printing thing. It's like you can figure out something that maybe is either too expensive to buy or just whatever's in your imagination. You could just print, you could design it and print it out.
Yeah.
You know, you can do you can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, there's folks that like print out guns and stuff. Maybe like I'd stay away from that, because if kids learn how to do all that trash and they bring it to school, there's some trouble there. Yeah. And these things actually like work too, so that's kind of scary. But I mean, you can print out some pretty crazy stuff, like that undercover clip thing. I just kind of designed it. I saw a need for it. I designed it, and I started creating that stuff. Went through the whole patent process and all that. So it was kind of a long time, and I did several iterations of it, several different prototypes, like 7 or 8. But it was cool in how it worked. It was cool to see it come to fruition, and like actually people want to buy it and want to wear it. That's super cool. So it's sold several tens of thousands thus far since I started this thing. It's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you can definitely make a business out of it. Every time I go on base too, I'll bring a couple with me, and I'll give it to like the gate guard. I'm like, hey man, here's an undercover clip for you. They always like rotate them out. It's like a duty. So pretty cool. Let me see what else we got going on here. Shout out to all the folks in the chat here.
Tony Slaughter, what up?
Tony Slaughter, welcome. So yeah, it's we cover a whole lot today, man. Great Sunday. It was. We started off with the potential. I don't know what the hell to call this thing. Operation Epic Fury, the war in Iran, the non-war in Iran, the missile strike. I don't know what to call this thing. Is it a war? Is it not? But we started out with that. I guess I got to do more reading on this. I've tried to stay away from the news so much that I found out about this via a text that someone sent me, and then I clicked, and then I jumped into everything, and then it's all over the news, and it's like, oh shit. Well, let me do some deep dives on this. So I'm going to be reading about all of this mostly today, I guess. Tony, I wonder, man, this world is getting crazy. I wonder if they're going to start recalling prior military. Yeah, you better start getting your freaking gear ready there, Tony Slaughter. Make sure those uniforms still fit, dude. Make sure you're within regs. No, I don't know if they're going to be recalling prior military. I don't think they will be. I mean, you think you want to have a bunch of like 50 to 100% VA disabled folks carrying rifles and running to? It's going to be a cyber war more than anything. I think everything's going to be from. You're not going to have boots on the ground for the most part. Not a lot, I don't think. But yeah, the world is getting crazy. Just stay at the alert, stay ready, stay educated, raise your constitution, all those good things.
Yep. And stay safe.
Yeah, I've been giving those things out. I had a couple of them. They had some free constitutions over at the bookshop, and I grabbed a couple of them. I give them out every so often. I'm like, hey, know what this says. You know, that should be required reading for all Americans, man. It'll be a Gen Z affair. Hey, they'll whip you into shape, man. After I catch a Pikachu. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, man.
We want to kill it before the 2-hour mark, right? Kill it.
Yeah. Great episode. A lot. We covered a whole lot. Real quick, want to give a shout out before we get out of here to some of our sponsors. I'm actually going to have Mike from Wild Bill's beverage company on soon. We're talking about a time to come on. So shout out to Drink Wild Bills. If anybody out there is looking to get into a good veteran franchise, like be your own boss really, and get a ton of support while doing so, drink Wild Bills craft beverage company. They're actually doing a 50% off promo for any first responders and veterans who want to start their own franchise. So big ups to Wild Bills. You can find them at drinkwildbills.com. There's the obligatory lady holding the cup. And let me see, hands-on support and training, national brand recognition, time-tested flavors, and fresh innovations. They show up to a lot of places like, Sturgis and all these other big, festivals. So, and they do these cool things where they have these trucks with a bunch of craft soda in it. So, we found Waldo there. We got this guy holding up mugs, and they have these cool trucks there. So, with these barrels full of craft soda, which is pretty cool. So, shout out to Wild Bills. Drinkwildbills.com is the name. Another one I want to give a shout out to here is, and another one that I'm actually going to be bringing on the Green Logbook is American Fidelity Life Insurance. Shout out to them. They kind of walked me through a whole bunch of stuff when I was like, hey, look, I kind of kicked myself in behind that I didn't get life insurance before I got out of the military. And they have a ton of information, a ton of resources. They educated me on a whole lot of stuff. So they were started by a veteran, and that's why I connected with them. So, American Fidelity Life Insurance, definitely reach out to them if you're looking at life insurance. amfilife.com. And we got, what else we got? Movement Financial, yes. MVMT. Yeah, you got them on there. MVMT Financial.
Good old Josh. You can check him out. He's been on a bunch of the episodes, probably be back at least once or twice in the following weeks or months. And when he comes on, we talk a lot about finances. We talk about rolling over TSP, things to do with your TSP, how to set up different ways to get your money straight, to get your money in order. Free to reach out to him initially to say what's up. You can find him on the socials on LinkedIn. You can find him on Facebook. He's very active and he's a really responsive, great guy, retired Army guy. And yeah, he knows what he's talking about. He's building his business out there in Washington State, right? He's out there in Washington State as well.
He is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, Josh, really good dude. We love having him as part of our sponsorship, and we love having him on the show either way to talk to. He's a great guy to talk to, and he knows his stuff, and he's out there willing to help and provide assistance to veterans to help them figure out their financial stuff that they need to figure out, whether they're still in the military or getting out of the military or have gotten out and been out for a few years. He will set you up with the things you need to be financially successful.
He's actually doing a financial strategy and military retirement show on March 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you all are looking to get your finances squared away, you can register at mvmtfinancial.com/registration to get your seat secured now. So it's his 6th Vet Thrive Military Retirement Prep Workshop on March 5th, which is coming up here in a few days. So always a good time talking to him, man, because finances are huge, especially as we get older.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you're able to live for years to come. I think folks are living a lot longer these days than they used to. So make sure that you have the finances to push you through life. Let me see here real quick, going to the comments. God damn it. My eyes keep going to this Pikachu thing.
Pikachu.
The Constitution is written in cursive. Cursive is no longer required in school. It is no longer required in school, though it should be. I am a fan of cursive. I am. It is a lost art, and I say art because it isn't art. Though it is written in cursive, that doesn't mean I can write things in web, wingdings if I wanted to. I think, it still makes sense to me. So it is the base of what this country was founded on. I think we should all read that. It should be required reading for all Americans. War is for the health of state. Okay. U.S. Army grunts. Sorry I was late. Another great stream, guys. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. Sergeant Stacking. Great having you on, buddy. Yes, wingdings. Yes. Yeah, 660 love. When you're younger, you tend not to think about life insurance so much. I wish I had gotten it earlier also. Yes, exactly why I linked up with these dudes, and they just educated me on that. A couple of kicks in the behind for myself on not getting life insurance earlier, but at the end of the day, I got it, secured it, for my family and I, and I'm glad we did when we did, because as life goes on, you never know what happens. So you want to lock on that life insurance ASAP. So that's why I linked up with MAFI Life, American Fidelity Life Insurance.com. Let's see what we got. Oh, hell yeah. I just got an email saying that my order is shipped. My Bamboo Lab, not sponsored, just my 3D printer. So awesome stuff. Aside from that, They don't want us to have life insurance and cursive knowledge. That's right. Cursive is fun. All right. With that, John, great episode today, man. Everybody out there, shout out to Navy Cop, who is always there with us. October 2025 vet, U.S. Army grunt, Tony Slaughter, Real Trump Said, Sergeant Stacking. Who else we got on the line, man? October 2025. Love. Yeah, Mo Perspective, 660 Love. All the folks here. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Ronan Bruv, I see you with your freaking Pikachu. Everybody. Hey, thanks for joining us on the Military Retirement Podcast, streaming everywhere on LinkedIn, Facebook, the Green Logbook, all these places. Thank you for joining us. Until next week, or until this week when I go on the Green Logbook, we will see you then.
Till next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Out here.